Welcome back. I hope everyone is doing really well. Tons again to cover today in this video, spanning the entirety of the crypto markets. One of the first things I wanted to jump into is looking at the crypto coins heat map. So this is effectively the entire cryptocurrency market cap. Of course, the representation on screen is based on market cap. So the bigger the market cap, the bigger the block here. As of course, this is a tree map. Looking at the performance of the weekly though, by and large, on the whole, it appears that the greed sentiment is returning back to the markets. We bled out slightly over the last week or two, and now it does appear that green shoots are appearing to return to the markets. And the same is happening as well in the equities markets, particularly over in the United States. So I think we're still firmly within bull run territory. Of course, we're going to see pullbacks across the space, but I do still believe that 2024 is going to be a stellar year. Of course, we've already hit new all-time highs on Bitcoin, but it looks like we will continue surging forward, and we'll all be waiting for that blow-off top moment for Bitcoin. If any of you are wondering why certain tokens aren't pumping yet, when you see Bitcoin pump, etc., go and check out my previous video where I literally talk about how altcoin season works and how we typically see capital flows through these markets. But for a real sort of whistle-stop tour summary phrase, it would be that Bitcoin effectively always takes the capital first. Its price will increase, its market cap will increase, and then we will see a trickle-down effect into the majority of other projects. Therefore, don't worry if your projects aren't pumping just yet. Of course, ensuring you know what you hold, etc., etc., ceteris paribus. Interesting news though across the market. So London Stock Exchange is now to launch a Bitcoin and Ethereum exchange traded note or ETN market. Of course, we had all the ETFs released, but they were only for the United States and clientele, of course, over in the USA. ETNs here would enable the UK institutions and retail investors alike to be able to pick up exchange traded note variants of spot, Bitcoin and Ethereum style products over here in the United Kingdom. And then this should also help pave the way for the likes of this to happen across Europe as well. So something to bear in mind, when we saw those ETFs go live, it's only those that are compliant with US regulatory ETFs that can then buy them in those particular accounts. So for example, here in the United Kingdom, things need to be UCITS compliant, and the same for Europe as well, I believe. There are lots of different regulatory frameworks here. So if we see something go live in one particular country, it typically only means that that particular country has access to be able to buy that type of asset, if you would. So this is big news anyway. Of course, the United Kingdom being a small market, but at least we're seeing other players jump on board in order to push through regulatory frameworks and guidance for the likes of spot crypto products in existing traditional finance realms. The US government has just indicted crypto exchange Kucoin and two of its founders on criminal charges, citing a multi-billion-dollar criminal conspiracy. And the reason I wanted to touch on this, one, because this is the first amount of FUD we've seen in 2024, or fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Of course, we've seen many exchanges be targeted in the past, their founders charged, etc., etc. But what's more interestingly is part of that lawsuit, the CFTC has said that Ethereum and Litecoin are commodities in this Kucoin lawsuit. Of course, this is really interesting because before, when we've seen the SEC target a lot of these, they refer to them as securities. But here the CFTC is referring to specifically Ethereum and Litecoin referenced in the lawsuit as commodities, which is a bit of a game changer as well in terms of legislation for the cryptocurrency market. And we could see stuff begin to align under these. Of course, this is real high level blue sky thinking at the moment in terms of what's been said in a particular CFTC lawsuit, and they don't always agree with each other, the SEC and CFTC. And of course, this is where the powers that be need to basically get their act together. But interesting nonetheless. Wanted to touch on this then as well before I jump into some HEDERA specific news, because it is actually very, very big news. BlackRock's first tokenized fund is bigger deal than people think. So the vision: BlackRock's CEO Larry Fink previously acknowledged the benefits of tokenization, stating that tokenized assets are the next generation for markets. Interestingly enough, if you guys go back to any of my videos, I think I've been talking about that since roughly 2022. So 2 years ago, effectively, or more, I've been talking about it in the sense, particularly for HEDERA, because of the native benefits to the network. But in general, real world asset tokenization and leveraging what the cryptocurrencies can do for this in terms of reduced frictions for sort of trading those assets, entry, barriers to entry, etc. There are so many benefits I could effectively ream off. I am not surprised that Larry Fink believes the same. And of course, they are now looking to do this, or have done this effectively. So the play here last week was that his firm shocked the community by unveiling its first tokenized fund, BUIDL, or BUIDL, however you want to sort of say that, BUIDL, on a public blockchain. So SaucerSwap is proud to announce we have partnered with BlackRock. Together, we are launching BlackRock USD Institutional Digital Liquidity Fund, or BUIDL. BUIDL will provide investors with the opportunity to earn US dollar yields by subscribing to the fund with Securitized Markets LLC. The initial ecosystem participants in BUIDL include Anchorage, BitGo, Coinbase, Fireblocks, HQ, and amongst other market participants and infrastructure providers in the crypto community. This is, of course, a really interesting thing. So the bigger picture here is that it's not just another tokenized treasury fund, it's a landmark initiative that could one day mark a turning point in the on-chain revolution. It is impossible to understand the implications of this development. Bullish. So tokenization promises to have an even bigger impact on the crypto industry than the spot Bitcoin ETFs, and I completely agree with that, something that I've been mentioning for a long time. Hundreds of trillions of dollars in existing capital are just waiting to be guided on-chain by institutions, and when BlackRock moves, markets pay attention. The future, the arrival of BUIDL, is a clear signal that a new era for financial markets is on the horizon. And again, something that I've mentioned many, many times, one that fully embraces tokenization and ignites a fresh wave of cryptocurrency adoption. And I certainly agree with that sentiment. And any of you that have watched my previous videos will probably understand why. Nonetheless, I am incredibly bullish for this. Of course, they are using Ethereum as their layer 1 here in order to facilitate this at a wider scale. But of course, we need these pilots, etc., in the ecosystem nonetheless. What's also quite funny about this, though, is that BlackRock has already learned the hard way, though, just how silly crypto can be in comparison to Bitcoin, and I guess actually more of a direct entree into the space in general. So working with digital assets was a breeze when all of BlackRock's fund managers had to do was just max bid Bitcoin on Coinbase Pro on behalf of ETF shareholders. What has actually ended up happening effectively is that it didn't take long for crypto Twitter to name an Ethereum address tied to the fund, and even less time for the wallet to then be drowned in low quality meme coins and NFTs, most of which are, of course, worthless. While there is indeed $100 million US dollars or USDC in BlackRock's suspected Ethereum wallet, which aligns with its SEC filing, there is now more than 100 other cryptocurrencies, of course, ENS-based tokens, or ERC20 tokens, definitely not purchased by BlackRock, sitting alongside those stablecoins. There are tokens like Jesus Coin, Kramer Coin, Harry Potter, Obama Sonic, 10inu, Larry Fink, and Deranged, and also some more offensive stuff that won't likely get past Blockworks' editor, which is obviously quite funny. So effectively what's happened there is that they have realized the current state of the cryptocurrency markets and the need as well for other things to be in place. It's actually a really good example of some of the benefits we take for granted on HEDERA. So on HEDERA, of course, you have to associate HTS tokens in order to receive them into your wallet. Again, if this, for example, this solution was built on top of HEDERA, they wouldn't have been able to receive or spam receive a load of these airdrop coins and NFTs, etc., because they would have had to have associated the tokens in the first place. More interestingly, and probably slightly funnier, is potentially they could land in some hot water here, because someone also managed to send a bunch of Ethereum to this particular address. They dusted it via the Ethereum tokens that had gone through previously banned or currently banned Tornado Cash. So some sort of funny shenanigans here taking place, but by and large, the news itself is, of course, incredibly bullish. Jumping across then to HEDERA specifically, wanted to touch on SaucerSwap Labs because auto pools are now live. So auto pools are available for all V2 pools on SaucerSwap's web app. This new feature streamlines the liquidity provision process, allowing for single token deposits as well as automatic rebalancing. So you can start using auto pools now directly for those V2 pools specifically, which are of course concentrated liquidity rather than AMMs. Now, two things to unpick here is, of course, you've got the automatic rebalancing, which is of course fantastic. But the second feature of this, which is also really huge, is you can obviously now use or have the ability to do a single token deposit rather than needing shares of token A and B to to provide liquidity. You can provide liquidity using a single token deposit, and that is based on the algorithm effectively they're using on the back end for auto pools to work. So fantastic feature set, again, launch from SaucerSwap's team. Wanted to touch on this because I know there was a lot of news about it last week and some of you were asking for my opinion, etc. But Hedera's leading software wallet HashPack app did raise $2 million through its governance and utility token pack launch. Historic moment for the whole Hedera ecosystem. They did break a couple of different records. They did then release a post-mortem because there were several different issues taking place. I did have a go at trying to mint some of the NFTs, but didn't have any luck whatsoever. So at a glance stats, over 7,000 users participated in the mint, 30,000 unique purchase attempts, 1,750 unique holders, 3 million mirror node calls, and they were sold out in around 22 minutes. So the post-mortem, though, is that a lot of people were receiving different errors, and also there were some bits of information that were pushed out probably a bit too quickly in the heat of the moment in order to understand what was going on. So I know, for example, some members of the HashPack team turned around and said they had bought Hedera to its knees, which was arguably factually completely incorrect. It was just the mirror nodes, and they had swapped their mirror node. They were experiencing issues with their mirror node before the mint took place, and at the last minute they decided to swap to their backup mirror node, to which they didn't realize they actually had rate limits in place with that secondary backup provider for the mirror node. So it was absolutely nothing to do with Hedera whatsoever, or in fact, I believe the mirror nodes themselves. It was just a split-second decision that took place in the lead up to the mint, and of course they got caught out by everything in the heat of the moment. It happens, right? It's a big launch. Everyone was really excited about it. Of course, they'll be doing further due diligence in the future to ensure things like this don't happen. But again, any of you guys that have been around for previous mints, you know, for example, talking a lot about 𝗟𝗘𝗙𝗥𝗥𝗥𝗥 in the, over the last few years, they've got a couple of mints left to go actually, which no more news for those at the moment. But any of you guys that were around for the early 𝗟𝗘𝗙𝗥𝗥𝗥𝗥 mints on Hedera, or in fact any other mints, will know they are normally very, very buggy. There's a lot going on. The infrastructure gets stress tested in tons of different ways. The minting platforms themselves, are trying to filter out bots and make it as fair as they possibly can. Not every single person is going to be able to mint an NFT. It's just the nature of the beast when it comes to these types of, first come, first serve, sort of free-for-alls, let's say. It's going to be based on as well things like your connection, how close you are, and I guess as well in proximity to the servers that are handling the requests. There's just so many different factors to whether you get lucky or not to mint one of these NFTs. So don't take it too personally, because there have been just as many mints that have gone exactly the same way as this HashPack mint. Regardless though, they did fully sell out and they have raised the capital. And of course, looking forward into the future, the HashPack Concierge Collectibles fully packed snapshot will be occurring on Wednesday, the 27th of March at 3 p.m. EST. If you own all three of the Concierge collectibles, so standard, premium, and first class, you'll receive the fully packed collectible to receive an additional 6,000 pack tokens. If you own multiple sets, you'll receive multiple bonus NFTs. Full packed collectible will be distributed shortly after the snapshot is made. A final snapshot will then be made in April prior to the launch of the pack token to determine final eligibility for the token distribution. So the snapshot on the 27th is effectively for the NFTs in your wallet to make sure to basically then distribute the full collection NFT, the fully packed collectible NFT. Of course, you can pick up any of these NFTs on Centex. Again, any of you guys that were around when we were doing things like the SaucerSwap NFTs will know this process this process will feel fairly familiar, because it's exactly a trodden path that SaucerSwap did several years ago. And then the tokens will be released based on the NFTs in your wallet in April at some point. Again, you can pick up these NFTs at a significant premium on the Centex market. I am not sure as it currently stands whether paying that significant premium to receive those pack tokens really makes sense. It's something that I will probably weigh up as we get closer to that snapshot date in April, and also keep a close eye on the price of the NFTs, because of course at the moment a lot of people are effectively scalping and massively speculating on the valuation of pack. Some more interesting news though about HashPack is they are happy to announce they're passing the torch for HashConnect to open source community. They originally built HashConnect to provide a seamless way for dApps to integrate with the Hedera wallets. This meant one-click pairing with extensions and integrated dApp browsers. The WalletConnect library does not support this, which has led to a confusing change in the user experience where you must copy the pairing code into wallets instead of one-click connecting. We've recently been collaborating with 𝗟𝗘𝗙 on bringing the WalletConnect library up to the ecosystem standards, and we are excited to say it's getting very close to fruition. Going forward, we will focus our attention on a single open source WalletConnect library that works for everyone. So again, this is fantastic, helping to improve the infrastructure across the HEDERA ecosystem, based on, again, stuff that they've already done for themselves, and they're now opening that up to the wider ecosystem. So again, massive kudos to HashPack. Anyway, hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, leave a like, drop a comment if you've got something to say. I do try and respond to as many of them as I possibly can. Until next one, I'll catch you then. Cheers.